They hope that we would forget about it. They hope that it would just go away. And for so many out there, that's exactly what happened. Life got busy, the holidays were here, and we all just forgot. We forgot to check on the ratings for South Park Into the Panderverse. What was the damage done to Disney? Well, folks, we're here to tell you that something very peculiar is happening. And we here on the Pro Show are ready to break it down for the very first time. Get ready for an exclusive and a type of video that we have never done before here on the channel. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to the WDW Pro channel, where we have a video unlike anything we have ever done before here on this channel. Indeed, today, bringing it to you hot and fresh out of the oven, the kind of news you will not hear anywhere else. Just like you will not see a guest such as Culture anywhere else. Well, yes, you might. He's everywhere. The hardest working man on YouTube returns to the WDW Pro channel. Welcome back, Culture Casino.
Well, thanks for having me, Pro. I'm glad to be back. I am. I'm glad to be back anywhere. So let's get right
this is the first time, Culture, that people, I think it feels very exclusive that you're here. You've had some technical difficulties, and so happy to have you back aboard where we can once again see you and hear you and all of that. An important voice, of course, across the web. Now, Culture has been kept in the dark as to what exactly we're talking about today because I want Culture to have a fresh take on this. Fresh eyes, fresh ears, and folks, I think you're going to enjoy this as well. All right, well, let's dive straight into the topic at hand, and we'll open this mystery box. Usually, ladies and gentlemen, what we're doing on this channel is bringing you news and explaining it, analyzing it in a way that you might not hear other places. Today is different, and that's because we have attempted to figure out this issue on our own. That's across that park place with our various teams. We haven't got this figured out yet. So we're going to tell you the problem, and then we're going to figure this out together. Culture, we're looking at the Nielsen top 10 for November 13th through the 19th. And there's something peculiar about this list. Now, we've got The Crown at the top and Grey's Anatomy and Bluey and all of that. And so the top 10, not remarkable, I would say. And if we go to original, still the same sort of thing. We see Loki up there, of course, with its 12th episode, hitting third place in that subcategory, so good for it. But something that we don't see on here is South Park Into the Panderverse. And the fascinating thing, Culture, is that South Park Into the Panderverse should have been on the last 3 Nielsen charts. And it has never been on the Nielsen charts. And you might say, well, maybe South Park Into the Panderverse didn't do well. Maybe that's why it has not been on the Nielsen charts. So I want to go to this out of Variety from April 6th of this same year. Nielsen streaming top 10. You returns to #1 spot with debut of season 4, part 2. That's the title, but that's not what we're interested in. What we're interested in is to go down here and see that way back in April, just a standard South Park season had it placing number 7 overall. And wouldn't you be interested to know that just above HBO Max South Park, which is where the that season was carried, Paramount Plus is being tracked by Nielsen. Paramount Plus is indeed a streaming service that is tracked by Nielsen. And an average South Park episode, season, is good enough to land in the top 10 just about every time. Not in a subcategory, but overall. And yet, we have not yet seen Into the Panderverse show up. And at this point, Culture, I don't think that South Park Into the Panderverse is going to show up on Nielsen. And I find that very peculiar because this is what do we want to call this? It's not a movie, but it's 45 minutes of fun. It's longer than an average episode. It's plenty to get onto the top 10. It was trending everywhere. Everybody was literally talking about this. Culture, give me some of your thoughts about why we might not have seen Panderverse ever show up on Nielsen. And by the way, before you answer that, I just want to say, we're not accusing Nielsen of anything here. We're not, we don't have any allegations. We just can't figure this out. And nobody we talk to understands what's going on here. Culture, help us understand.
Well, I'm not sure I can help us understand, but I can postulate. I can suggest that perhaps, despite the fact that they seem to apparently track Paramount Plus, that particular data that you cited was also in tandem with Netflix because Netflix has a heavy presence in binging television shows. That's one of the places that you go to do it. That's where you go for your comfort food of television consumption. If you want to put something on and have it in the background while you cook or clean or whatnot, that would be the place to go, or one of them. Amazon would be the other. But I would again, my second or my instinct tells me that they didn't know what to do with it because it is a property that's kind of in dispute, South Park, because original episodes are on HBO Max, or now Max, I guess. And the Paramount only owns or has control over the specials.
So you're suggesting, let me
Mhm.
see if I can detangle that. You're
Mhm.
suggesting that perhaps Nielsen didn't know which subcategory it should go into, whether it's original or acquired or movie or whatnot. And
Mhm.
then perhaps it also, simultaneous to that, did not rise to the level that it made the top 10 overall. And through this uh, interesting confluence of events, we get to a place where it doesn't appear on anything on Nielsen. Is that what you're describing, perhaps?
Well, it's better than the nefarious thought process that I had, which
Well,
is
that's
that
and that's what we've got to include it.
okay. Well,
Let's go to the nefarious part of this, although
okay.
we're not alleging
Well, I
nefarious.
was I was assuming everybody would jump to that conclusion, but of
Well,
course,
and I'm glad you did what you did. Absolutely.
yeah.
Let's take a look
Oh
at the
boy.
nefarious side of it, if it's true. This was out of Deadline. Yahoo's carrying it, as they so often do. Dade Hayes. South Park TV promo for Paramount Plus, exclusive irks. Charter CEO. Oh my goodness, what's left on Comedy Central that we're still paying for? Charter Communications CEO Chris Winfrey recently encountered a TV ad that conjured memories of his company's carriage battle with Disney last September. This commercial message, however, came from a different legacy media company pushing into subscription streaming. Not to pick on anybody, but everybody's been watching football, Winfrey said. I saw Paramount Plus advertising South Park, exclusive on Paramount Plus. I said, oh my goodness, what's left on Comedy Central that we're still paying for? If customers paid for it already, they need access to it. They need to get it. Culture, there's also another company that probably would be very unhappy with Into the Panderverse charting well.
Hmm.
And of course, that one is ran by one Mickey Mouse, or perhaps Bob Iger. Perhaps we shouldn't malign poor Mickey that way. But culture, it also doesn't look good for Disney if what they
Oh.
perceive to be an attack on Kathleen Kennedy, Star Wars, and Disney at large tracks higher than Loki and tracks higher than anything they've got. Both of those, but the interesting thing is to me, we can instantly go to the Disney side of this, but there's two major corporations that are deeply displeased with South Park into the Panderverse. So, culture, we're not making allegations, but in your estimation, what is the likelihood that somebody put a call in, or somebody's put a call in to Nielsen and said, you know what, we don't want to see those numbers?
Oh, I think that's very I think that's incredibly likely. And it's funny because my takeaway from the previous article that you showed was that actually the powers that be over at Spectrum Charter were probably actually complaining that they didn't have access to this show because it was so going to be so powerful. And I would say that in light of the carriage dispute they had with Disney, they probably would have been overjoyed at poking fun at Disney, who again would be the culprit. That would be the people trying to hide the data around Enter the Panderverse because it is more than a little inflammatory and very much on the nose. A lot of people have seen this coming out of Disney and their terrible behavior. And while the villain that they chose was somebody that most people hadn't heard of and probably not accurate, considering that it exists at all levels at Disney to a certain degree, I would say that Disney probably went and had a conversation with Nielsen saying, hey, we don't mind providing you some of the data here when we think that you're wrong. But if you could, just keep this show from appearing anywhere because you don't have a way to categorize it, then, we would really appreciate that, Nielsen. We
That's
really
right.
would. Even though Nielsen, we did try to shove you out the door, and make sure that you had difficulty being re-credentialed.
That's a great.
Even though you were the people that took yourself off that credential list because you wanted to be accurate with your new Nielsen 1 rating system, which I would say is pretty accurate now. So
they're not happy about
I would
Nielsen.
say there might have been phone calls.
And for those out there who might say, "Oh, come on, guys, maybe it's just a little cartoon," it seems to be just a little cartoon that helped Paramount Plus do very well. This wasn't covered very much, but Deadline by Dade Hayes again, covering here that Paramount Global beat Wall Street's analysis and estimates, talking about Paramount Plus actually doing tremendously well, and subscription revenue shot up 46% to $1.3 billion. Wonder when that happened. Oh, the third quarter.
Wow. Lots of people wanted to see that, didn't they?
Either they were preparing for or they were purchasing it to see it. So this is no small deal, and yet not showing up anywhere on Nielsen. I think this is hiding the football so that we don't see the tremendous cultural impact that this had, and lay bare how much people are interested in just how poorly Disney is doing. But there could be other stuff related to this, and who knows, maybe Paramount Plus would be happy for this not to be visible because maybe there will be actions taken, and Paramount Plus will have to defend themselves. And I don't know. I think all that would come out anyway. But Culture, wrap us up today. What do you think would be the benefit if we could get these numbers?
Oh, I think we'd be able to show that when you actually make quality comedy, you have a ready and waiting and willing to consume audience that is seems to be absent from everything else, largely on anything that's offered on streaming that's original nowadays. I would say that, again, also very telling that compared to the ready-made bingeable product that's already finished its run through syndication, there is a substantial comparison with originals. I think if this were allowed to appear, because I'm on the train now to say that this is probably withheld for some reason.
And we waited, Culture, 3 weeks to ever bring this up. We've been watching this for 3 weeks and asking about it behind the scenes with no answers. We waited 3 weeks to bring this video. This is not clickbait, ladies and gentlemen. If we wanted clickbait, we'd have come out day one when it never showed up, when it should have, but we held off. We're now at the point where it's like, okay, we can't get any answers on this. Nobody knows what's going on. And we're just going to throw it out to the world now and say, who knows? Shoot us an email. We would love to hear from you what's going on behind the scenes, since nobody appears to have answers for this.
Yeah, I'm with you, Pro. I think that this is odd. It's unusual, and it's very strange because it fell off of my radar because I was like, okay, well, that made the cultural impact that it needed to, so much so that we're waiting for part 2, which I would say there's probably a pretty good chance.
I would definitely say so. And I don't know if you saw this, Culture. I thought it was so funny. Those leaked images of the concept art for Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny, what would become Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny. Back when Steven Spielberg was doing it, of course, Short Round was in it. And you saw the image of Indy kicking, or Short Round kicking the zombies. Did you notice what they had in their hands? What Indy's holding? It's a gem, and it looks a lot like the Panderverse stone. Perhaps.
Oh, boy.
Perhaps this rabbit hole goes deeper. No, folks, we're kidding. But there is something fascinating happening on this channel, Culture, and that is that you will be back on the channel tomorrow morning again. Ooh. You will be joining Lauren Connor and myself, and we're going to do something that I don't think any other channel has done, and maybe we can inspire others to join along with us. You, sir, are going to audit me, hopefully better than the Disney auditors, but you're going to, I'm talking about PwC, ladies and gentlemen, not the independent audit. But Culture, you're going to find out. We're going to go through my predictions for the first quarter of 2023, and we're going to see how I did. If I actually had the predictions, and we're going to turn this into a series. Folks can tune in each week and see exactly what my track record has been for 2023. Culture, are you going to be honest and fair, or are you going to stick it to the pro?
I'll be honest and fair. I won't stick it to the pro, but I will call balls and strikes. That's what we do.
That's right. The great takedown begins. Well, Culture, I'm excited to find out if I'm a liar and a fraud. But one thing that's for sure, you are not a liar, nor a fraud, nor a snake oil salesman. You have a tremendous channel with tremendous content back up and running now. I was, what would you say? Temporarily, laryngitis tried to take me out, and laryngitis lost.
It almost
your computer, your computer attempted to take you down, but it could not. The beard is too strong. Culture, tell us what you got coming up on your channel now that things are fixed.
Oh, we have a series of videos have already planned, and I'm putting together the outlines for. We've got some new segments that are going to be showing up over on That Park Place on the daily countdown. Can't wait to get those fired back up. And then I think you'll probably see me on a couple of various shows this week. Maybe the pro show, maybe the That Park Place Live, which I seem to now be there regularly. So I'm very excited. We do have a lot coming up, and of course my late night Sunday show where I actually do a little bit more adult oriented things because the kids are probably in bed, so it's safe.
But nothing like what's been coming out on the Senate. No, nothing like that. That's not different kind, folks.
No. There's a little bit of a little more loose language than I prefer. Yeah, none of that disgusting stuff. I didn't realize that when the adults were in control of things, that's the kind of adult behavior I was supposed to expect.
You never knew that was what they were referencing. Absolutely. Well, folks, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe. When you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And even more importantly, again, this is a video that we just don't do these, which is to say, help. Seriously. If you know the answer to what's going on here, if you're in the industry, if you are somebody who has connections with Nielsen, and you know why South Park Into the Panderverse has not shown up ever on the tracking whatsoever, despite every indicator being that it should have been, let us know. We're not suggesting that it must be nefarious. It might be mundane, but we would love to have a follow-up video to report on this, and we've just hit dead end after dead end to the point this needs to be out in the public. People need to know that this is an anomaly. It's strange, but we don't have an answer yet. So help us out with that. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Wilton, you know you're not allowed in the kitchen. And, it smells like burning dog hair. What are you doing in here?
Well, I got a DM from Slade Wilson on how to roast Jonas. I mean, I didn't bother reading it, because I already have the perfect plan.
Wait a minute. So you're challenging Slade?
Well, not really. It's more like what Caffeine Kennedy and Kevin Feige do to Disney. A tag team of destruction. Plus, we're also making sure that everyone knows to subscribe to WDW Pro this Christmas.
Well, I appreciate you helping Pro, but doing one good thing does not make up for both of you doing a bad thing. Pro's making sure everyone gets accurate information and stays ahead of the culture curve, but, oh man, what is that smell? You're not really...
Oh, yeah, no, I'm literally roasting Jonas in the oven. I mean, I was kind of confused on where you were going with that line of questioning in the first place.
Roasting someone's a figure of speech. You don't actually cook them. Somebody! Oh my, hang on, Jonas! Well, I hope you're happy about what you've done this Christmas, Wilton. You almost ended Jonas.
On the brighter side, he looks great with that new tan. I guess you could say I gifted him a nice complexion.